You have 2 minutes and 32 minutes after that.
32 seconds.
32 seconds.
2 minutes and 32 minutes.
You're welcome.
34
Trying to
minutes.
help you out.
All right. Is my judge ready?
Yes.
Is my timer ready?
Yes.
Then let's begin.
Okay.
My name is Elijah Strode, and this these are my partners Jasper and Emma, and we are against the resolution that the U.S. should ban GMOs. So first off, their first reason was that they have very few evidence they have a very shaky and not very much evidence that GMOs are safe for humans, and it's very undescriptive. However, credible evidence has been demonstrated that foods from genetically engineered plant varieties marketed to date are as safe and comparable to non-genetically engineered food. And the FDA regulates foods from genetically engineered crops in conjunction with the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Environmental Protection Agency. GMOs have undergone more detailed evaluation than any other group of plants that we consume. In almost all cases, GMOs differ from a conventional plant by the addition of just 1 or 2 genes that produce 1 or 2 new proteins. The origin and function of these proteins are well understood. For example, the proteins are studied to make sure that they do not have any characteristics that are likely to cause allergic reactions. The National Academy for Science, the United States' #1 source of independent objective advice to the nation on matters of science and technology, concluded that GMOs are safe for human health. The same conclusion has been reached by a large number of prestigious health and science organizations from around the world. In addition, over the 2 decades that GMOs have been on the market, there have been no occurrences of health issues due to genetically modified organisms. Purdue, and it is your body on GMOs, Purdue Education. The committee found no published evidence to support the hypothesis that consumption of genetically engineered foods have caused higher U.S. rates of obesity or type 2 diabetes or anything of that sort. Over the past 20 years, the FDA found that all of the 148 genetically engineered transformation events that they evaluated to be substantially equivalent to their conventional counterparts, as of Japanese regulators, for 189 submissions. And all right. Eventually, so they stated that they are going to ban GMOs only for a year. However, the resolution is a complete ban on GMOs, and they said it may be extended, so that's just, and let's say they eliminate, eventually, when those crops die, when all the GMOs will be eliminated. When they eliminate all the GMOs in the United States, the model shows that corn yields will decline of 11.2% on average. Soybeans lose 5.2% of their yields, and cotton 18.6% to make up for the loss of about 102,000 hectares of U.S. forest and pasture would have to be converted to cropland in 100.1 million hectares globally for the average case. Study, eliminating GMOs would take a toll on the environment economies. Purdue University of Agricultural News. Some 252,047 acres of U.S. forests and pasture lands would have to be converted to crop production to offset the shortfall. A reduction in the export of U.S. commodity crops would also increase demand for cropland in other nations. Our analysis confirms that if we do not have access to the GMO technology, a significant amount of land would need to be converted from other crops, cropland, pastures, and forests to meet the global food demand. This causes deforestation in the U.S. and other regions to satisfy higher demand for cropland, which leads to expansion in GHG emissions due to land use changes, according to the paper, due to land use changes. Purdue studies on the impacts of GMO ban on Corel Alliance for Science achieved on February 6, 2018. Today, about 1/8 of people across the world do not have enough food to eat. Addressing this problem of food insecurity today is daunting, and it will become even more so in the future as we face a projected increase of the world's population to 9 billion in 2050. In the United States, almost 50 million Americans suffer from food insecurity in the past year. Fortunately, there have been major advances in agricultural technologies over the past year that have enabled higher and higher yields without having to use more of our limited resources. Perhaps the most important developer has been in the advance of genetically modified organisms, done by Craig Gunderson, a soybean industry endowed professor of Agricultural Society, Department of Agriculture and Consumer Economics in the University of Illinois. The main objective of this study was to evaluate what would be the economic and environmental consequence of losing the GMO traits in the U.S. from major crops of corn, soybeans, and cotton. The price changes for corn were as high as 28%. For soybeans, as high as 22%. In general, the price increase for the reference and average cases were higher than those observed previously for biofuel shocks. Food prices change in the U.S. and amount to 14 to 24 billion a year. As expected, welfare falls both in the U.S. and globally. Study: eliminating GMOs would take a toll on the environment and economies. Purdue University Agricultural News. And yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'm ready for cross-examination. Cross-examined.
My judges ready? Am I ready? Okay. Do you know how many tests have been administered by unbiased sources?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you know how many tests have been administered by unbiased sources?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. However, these tests were done by 3 different people, 3 different agencies. So multiple agencies.
Yes or no question.
So, maybe.
Where in the resolution does it infer that a complete ban forever has to be imposed?
It says ban on GMOs. So.
Okay. Do you have any evidence or numbers showing that the GMO has the most evidence about plants research so far?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you have any evidence or numbers concerning how much evidence has been done on GMOs?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Do you have any evidence or numbers concerning the GMOs have the most evidence above all other plants?
Have the most research,
Yes.
you're saying?
Do you have any
Um,
numbers?
There are, I don't have the exact numbers, however, it is a lot.
No. You said that GMOs have not caused any health issues. Do you have any numbers showing that?
Like, how many health issues have been not caused, is that what you're saying? Because that's, you know, it's hard to
You
number.
said that no health issues have come up. Do you have any proof regarding that statement?
No health issues, it says, I have evidence, yes, it is. It is, supported by studies by, the FDA.
Time's up.
Affirmative, 10.